and I'll share my I'll share a notebook first to make you understand what is slicing and how we need to do slicing. So let's suppose if we consider if you're having an array with the name A, okay, and I'll increase the size of this. Okay, so now it's a bit more. Like I want to reduce this. Okay, so this slide one is more than enough. Okay, let's suppose if you have a matrix like this. So let us assume I'm taking a matrix like a 4 cross 4 matrix. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Let's suppose like it is an array which I am going to take to perform a slicing. So this matrix size is 4 cross 4. To know this size, you'll be having shape attribute. By taking help of shape attribute, you'll get to know like what are the different elements present in a this specific array. So prior to that, you need to understand how we need to perform slicing. So if you are familiar with the list slicing or string slicing or tuple slicing, there whenever you want to perform a slicing, you'll be having specific syntax. What is that syntax? In this flower bracket, you need to specify starting index, colon, you need to specify ending index, colon, you need to specify step size. This is a structure for slicing. But if you consider whatever the list we took, whatever the string we consider, that is a one-dimensional data. Means purely there we have only rows or only we have only columns. Okay, like we'll be having only one-dimensional data. Whereas if you consider this array, here we'll be having two dimensions. So one is columns like this and another one is rows like this. We'll be having two columns. So it means it is a two-dimensional data. Whatever the array here we are looking, that is a two-dimensional data. On this two-dimensional data, whenever you want to perform slicing, you need to specify array name first. So in this case, our array name is A, and initially you need to specify row slicing. Coming to the rows, which rows data you want to access? We need to specify row slicing first. So with with comma separation, we need to specify column slicing. In the same way, we need to specify column slicing. Okay. So let's suppose we'll see few examples so that we'll understand this concept much clearly. Okay. So coming to the rows, indexing always starts with 0. So coming to this complete row, it's presented 0th position. And this row presented first position. And this row presented second position. This row presented third position. Coming to the columns also same thing. 0th position, first position, second position, third position. These are the positions. Let's suppose from this array, if I want to access 7, how can I do this? How can we do this? So to do this, first we need to specify row slicing. A is our array name. Okay. So like coming to this 7, it is presented first row. It is a row number 1. Means we need to access a element corresponding to first row. So corresponding to this first row, which column element you want to access? I want to access the element belongs to second column. If you say A of 1 comma 2, you'll get this one as an output. Okay, clear? This one is clear. So now my requirement is, I'll change the color. So my requirement is, I want to access this complete column. I want to access this complete row. Sorry, it is not a column. I want to access this complete row. So now to access this row, what we need to do? So first we need to specify row slicing. First we need to specify row slicing. So our array name is A of So I need to access elements like corresponding to the second row. So coming to the rows, so 0 1 2, all the elements present in it presented second row only. That's why I'm specifying number like 2. So coming to the columns, so in this row we'll be having all the columns elements, means 9 10 11 12. These are different column elements. So simply we can say colon. If we say colon means we are accessing all the columns elements only. So it means it will give you an output like this complete column. Sorry, it is not a column, it is this complete row. So this one you will be get like this. Let's suppose now I'll be having different requirement. I will change color again. Let's suppose now what I want to do is I want to access this specific column elements. I want to access the specific column elements. How can we do this? Simply we need to say yeah. So corresponding to the columns, like corresponding to rows, here we are accessing elements corresponding to all the rows. All the rows means how we can do this? We can say it like all the rows means colon. If you say colon means we are accessing all the column elements, sorry, all the row elements. With a comma separation, now we need to access all the elements corresponding to second column only. Here column is constant. So you can access like this. Now, what I want to do is I want to create a 2 cross 2 array. I want to create a 2 cross 2 array with this element. Let's suppose 1 2 5 6. I need to create this array. How we can do this? So for this, I'll write a structure here. So all these elements present in A. Okay, this one is perfect. Now, corresponding to the rows, which rows data we need to access? We need to access zeroth row data and first row data. So for that, what I'll do is I'll say colon 2. So colon 2 means, so we are accessing the data corresponding to 0 and first column. Colon means by default, the starting index will be considered like 0. So by default, starting index will be considered like 0. Okay, from 0 we are starting 0 1. 2 is excluded. Ending index always excluded. Means second row is excluded. It means it will take these two rows first. 0 and first row. Means now this will contain the data corresponding to all the columns. So corresponding to the columns, I need to restrict the columns also. So now I need to restrict the columns and I need to get an output like these two columns data only. So coming to the columns also, I'll say colon 2 only. So if you say colon 2, it will give you an output corresponding to numpy, like this specific array. Now I'll take a last example corresponding to this. So that example is, yeah, what I want to do is, let's suppose I want to get, okay, I want to get this complete portion as an output. Okay, I'll write it here. So how we can do this now? So coming to these two specific columns, if you want to access these two specific columns, so corresponding to the rows, we are accessing all the rows elements. Simply we can say colon. Simply we can say colon, comma, means we are accessing all the rows elements. So then next, I want to get these two specific column values. How we can do this? So here we can say I need to start with second column colon. So if you say second column colon means we are accessing all the columns after 2. Now you'll get these two arrays, like these two rows from this array. How many are you clear with this? Any doubts to anyone? Can I go with a practical explanation, like a coding explanation for this? Yes. Can anyone please?
Yes, sir.
Yes, done. Perfect. Now coming to the practical explanation, I'll create same array. Okay. So now, whenever you want to work with a numpy, simply initially what we need to do, we need to import numpy. Now, after creating numpy, here what I'll do is I will create an array. and I'll store it in variable A. A equals to np dot. I'll take help of arrange method to create an array. Now I want to create an array with the elements in the range of 1 comma 17. Okay. Now while creating this array itself, I'll reshape this array to this size of 4 cross 4. I need to create a 4 cross 4 array first. Now after this, I want to print A. Initially, it will connect with the Google Cloud and it will give us an output. We'll see what happens. Okay, so you can see like it is an array. So whatever the example we took, there also we did same thing. Now the first example is I need to get an output of let's suppose I want to get a 10 from this array. How we can do this? Simply A of, so slicing bracket is same. So corresponding to the rows, 10 is present in 0, 1, 2, second row. Okay. Coming to the column corresponding to this, so it is presented first column, 2 comma 1. So if you say A of 2 comma 1, it is giving output like 10. Let's suppose if you want to get an element corresponding to this specific column, let's suppose if you want to get this complete row, sorry, not column, if you want to get this complete row, how we can do this? So coming to this array, this complete row is the first row. So I'm saying 1, and coming to the columns, I need to get a elements corresponding to all the columns. If you say this thing, like you will be get this complete row. Whereas if you want to take the specific row, like let's suppose you want to get an 3, 7, 11, 15, you want to get these elements in an output. So for that, what we can do? Simply we can say, yeah. So I want to get all the elements of second, like coming to the columns, sorry, coming to the rows, I need to get all the rows information corresponding to second column. If you run this, you will be get all the elements corresponding to the second column. So 3, 7, 11, 15. Let's suppose whenever you're performing slicing, and let's suppose if you want to restructure this array into the specific format, so for that we can take help of reshape function also. By taking help of reshape function, by accessing the elements, we can create an array with a specific size. So let's suppose I want to reshape these elements to 2 cross 2 size. You can see like whatever the values we got, with that we are creating 2 cross 2 matrix. This kind of operations also we can do by taking help of reshape method. Okay, but here I'm majorly focusing on slicing. Now my requirement is I need to get like output corresponding to like this 2 cross 2 array I want to get 1 2 5 6. I need to get it in an output. So for that, what we can do? So now what I want to do is I'll say a of, so my original array is this one. So 1 2 5 6 means coming to the rows we need to perform slicing first. So these two things present in first two rows means colon 2. Colon 2 means row slicing. And coming to the columns, same thing, colon 2. So we'll get this output. So you can see we're getting same output 1 2 5 6. So now what I'll do is I'll say a, let's up, yeah, prior to this I'll print a so that it will be clear to you. Now a, simply what I'll do is colon comma colon colon minus 1. What could be the output for this? Can anyone? So yeah, I'll execute it so that you can understand much clearly. So you can see it is an array. So in this array, what I am doing is I am like reversing each and every row elements. Whenever you want to reverse the column, sorry, here we are performing slicing on columns. So coming to the rows, we are not doing, we are taking help of all the rows corresponding to the columns. We are changing the column element positions. So let's suppose if you consider here 1 2 3 4 we are having. Now what I did is I did every row elements in a reverse order. 4 3 2 1 8 7 6 5 and 12 11, like I am reversing the elements positions. means I am changing the rows positions. Whereas if you want to invert it completely, let's suppose if you want to change rows into columns, columns into rows, simply what we can do, simply the starting place also we can say colon colon minus one. If you say colon colon minus one at both the positions, we'll see what happens. You can see the first element will be comes at the last place and last element will be comes at first place. Okay, we are completely inverting rows and columns. Like that, we can play with the arrays. Any doubt so far on this? So now the difference between resize and reshape is like whenever you create an array, like whenever you reshape an array, so when for that if you take help of reshape function, it will modify the data for one instance. It won't modify the data permanently. So here I created one array with the size like by taking help of arrange function. Now like whatever the array we created here, if you look at the data corresponding to it, so I'll show you the data corresponding to it. You'll be get a flattened array, like you'll be get a one dimensional array only. Whereas now I want to replace like reshape that array with the size of 4 cross 4. So you can see it is a 4 cross 4 array. So like after performing this reshape method, once again I am looking at the content. So whatever the data we created initially, that remains same. It is not modifying that one. Means it is like this will hold the data for one instance only. Whereas in place of this, if you use resize, so let's suppose if you say I want to create 2 cross 2 arrays, let's suppose I want to create two cross 2 arrays with the size 2 comma 4. Now if you look at the content of B, like it will create two arrays with the size of 2 cross 4. Okay, now if you look at the data at any number of times, it will hold two arrays with the size of 2 cross 2, 2 cross 4. So whatever the dimensions it might be in the resize or reshape, the parameters will remain same. Like parameters are same. Means the like if you specify two parameters, first parameter corresponding to rows and second parameter corresponding to the columns. Whereas if you specify three parameters in it, it will understand like a first parameter corresponding to number of arrays and the next two parameters corresponding to the size of an array. It's about reshape and resize. And let's suppose, yeah, what I'll do is, okay, I'll be like I'll create an array with the name C. C equals to np dot arrange of 10. Okay, 1 comma 10, let's suppose, so that it will create a 3 cross. Yeah. Now what I want to do is I need to reshape this array with the size of 3 cross 3, let's suppose. Now, if I want to look at the content, like if I look at the content of C, it will hold a 3 cross 3 array in this specific format. Now, what I want to do is on this, I want to apply a ravel function. Let's suppose what I'll do is I'll say D equals to C dot flatten. Let's suppose initially I'm applying flatten. Now, I look at the content of D. Okay, it contains a flatten array. Now, similarly, if I look at the content of C, so however, like whatever the content we define and see, that remains same. Similarly, like here, what I'll do is I'll create E, another array with the name E. Now on this, like whatever the array C we are having, on that I'll apply a ravel method. So the ravel and flatten methods both are used to convert any dimensional array in a single dimension only. Now I'll look at the content of E also. We'll see the difference between all these two, like difference between three things, two things. Now so like we unable to see any differences between both the things. So flatten means it is also doing same thing, ravel means it is also doing same thing. Now what I will do is like we'll be having array D, right? In the array D, at the position 0, I want to keep 99. Now I look at the content of D first. So at the first location we modified the value, that's why it is replicating there. So similarly I'll check the content of C. So content of C is remain same. Let's suppose if I check content of E, it will also remain same. Now what I'll do is if I modify the content of E, let's suppose I'll say E of 0 equals to 100. So now I'll check the content of C. So you can see like whatever modification you're performing in E, that is replicating here also, isn't it? So whenever you're modifying E, it is changing the data corresponding to C also. Means like from this, what you need to understand is, so coming to the rival function, it is like an assignment operator. Means like assignment operator means like in a list also we saw that like whenever you use equals to symbol by taking help of equals to symbol, if you assign one list into like another variable, there what happens, like first list will be works like an aliasing for a second one. Means like here E is like a nickname for C, that's it. So whenever you modify the data in E, it will replicate in C. Though if you modify the data in C also, it will replicate in E. Okay, it is like an aliasing only. But coming to the flatten function, it will be like a cloning operation which we performed previously. Cloning means like here in this example what we did, we flattened an array C. So now whenever we take help of flatten function, B and C will be works like a different individuals. Both will works like an individuals. Whereas coming to here, E and C will work like a same element. Like both will be belongs to same category. Makes sense? Any doubts so far?